Hey guys, what is up? Replay here,
Secure the
and I'm sorry
objectives.
for not posting videos lately. I have had a lot of stuff
Securing
going
A.
on in real
Advantage
life.
of
I
Charlie.
just finished moving to a new
Alpha
apartment
secure.
from apartment that really isn't really
Securing B.
fit for a human to live in nowadays because there's no air conditioning in it. And it's third floor now,
Securing
first
Charlie.
floor air conditioning, and everything is just so much better. I'm going to talk to you about two things today. First is going to be my
Hostile
opinion
UAV
on
above.
the new Call of Duty trailer that came out. And second is going to be a live story of a boat accident. Now after watching
Securing
the
B.
trailer that they have out for Call of Duty
Hostile
Ghosts,
hunter killer drone inbound.
I was personally not impressed
B
for
locked down.
what I saw. I was expecting
Care
more of
package inbound.
gameplay than some kind of
Friendly
cinematics that
UAV inbound.
really didn't really show that much compared to what we have seen in the past from game developers. Now, with that being said, I am not putting down the game in any type of way. I
Losing A.
love the idea of Call of Duty Ghosts of what they're trying to do, having to use prehistoric weapons
Losing
or
B.
just weapons from the past 100 years
Losing
in
Bravo.
the future because of something that caused them to do so. Because inside the trailer, you see a dog come up very often inside there. I'm guessing it might be a dog that stays with you through the whole campaign. That'd be pretty badass if you have your own kind of personal dog inside the game. Maybe it brings you kill streaks or whatever. But I'm not trying to go into too
Losing B.
deep because I am not the best at looking at something and analyzing every last detail that was put on there. Only thing I really saw was like, hey, there's a dog in I think an MP5. It's probably some of what everybody else thought besides T. Martin, who seems to see every fucking
Bravo
detail that
inbound.
comes out. Now, with that out of the way, what I want to talk about
Losing Alpha.
is a story, a life story
UAV
of
inbound.
something that had
Enemy
happened to
took
me
Alpha.
when I was 16 years old,
Be advised,
involving
hostile
me,
UAV incoming.
my parents, and a boat flipping over in the ocean. Not the lake, the ocean, 15 miles off
Securing
of
A.
the coast of Key West.
Securing
I'll give you some backstory to
A.
start off
Securing
with it
C.
though. It
A is
was
secure.
about a week or 3 days or something like that before we moved back up to North Carolina. There was
Hunter
an
killer
army
drone
base that I was
deployed.
staying on that was hosting a fishing contest. And my neighbors
Securing
were
C.
doing it. We're great friends with our neighbors. And my mom entered me,
All
my
flags secured. Maintain
stepdad,
current posture.
and herself inside the contest. And being only
Losing B.
16 years old, and having to go to
Losing
school and being able to take off school to go do something that you love is just
A. Enemy has B.
amazing. It's like a great feeling. So the day finally
Losing
came,
Alpha.
like I was bragging about in school, but the day finally came for the
Be
contest, and I was
advised,
so pumped
hostile
up.
UAV
Got up
incoming.
early, and the point that we were going
Losing
to
C.
was named Devil's Point. It is
We lost C.
an area that isn't exactly close
Securing B.
to Key West because there's a sunken submarine where there's a lot of sea life that goes around there, which is a great chance of catching pretty big fish out there, but there's also a chance of catching sharks. But on the way
Securing
out there,
Bravo.
it was a great boat ride, great morning boat ride. It was like November or something. In Key West, November is not really that bad, but it's a little bit chilly. At the same time, it's just amazing just being out in the water, no matter if it's cold or hot. But we're almost there, probably about
Securing
half a
B.
mile, quarter mile there, and inside Key West, there's a lot of areas where the water is very
Lightning strike awaiting coordinates.
shallow. Even no matter how far you're off, you're gonna come across some shallow ass water
Losing
because there's
B.
also a bunch of islands around. And almost
Lightning
there,
strike coordinates received.
we
Inbound.
misjudged the water change, and we end up hitting
Hostile UAV above.
a really shallow area, I guess I could say, and it fucked up our motor big
Hellstorm
time.
missile inbound.
We already had problems with the bilge inside there. Don't know what the bilge pump is.
Securing
It is
Charlie.
what pumps out the water from inside the boat because you're going to constantly have water getting inside the boat from like splashes and stuff. But it helps drain the water out. We already had problems with that. So messing up the motor didn't make it any better. And we were already like 30, 45 minutes away from Key West, and we're almost there. So like, all right, we're just going to go there, anchor down, and we are going to
Alpha lockdown.
do some fishing, just have fun. So we'd spend like another like 20 minutes or something, 15, 20 minutes trying to get out to our spot, and we get out to our spot and we anchor down and we start fishing. Now it wasn't long after that we start to notice water starting to come in. So I just took a bucket that we had, so I started to bail out water from inside there, as I've done before in the past because of the bilge problem.
Secure the
Then
objectives.
before I knew it, after doing that,
Be
like
advised,
it was
hostile
also
care
those
package
we had
inbound.
like a 17.5 foot boat, and it was like 3 foot waves I think, and it's not really a good combination, especially when your bilge pump isn't working. So having water come in
Securing
a lot from the front of the boat, from the waves going over the front, and before I knew it, it was filled like basically up to the rim, and I'm screaming like a little bitch because at this point the boat's rocking like almost like to 90-degree angles, and I am just bailing water and water and water and so much water I'm bailing out, just like screaming for them to help me. They won't help. They're freaking laughing at me because we had a boat that was unsinkable, but it wasn't unflippable. Like I know it's like hard to think about that, but the boat can flip over
Securing A.
because the hole is empty and it's heavier on the bottom, so it's
UAV
easier for
inbound.
water to get inside there for it to flip over and stay on top, stay
Losing
upside
C.
down. So after doing that, they start laughing at me, whatever, and then it happens again, and then they realize how serious the situation actually is. Even though we are like 2 miles off an island, that island is like 2 miles off another island and off another island, and it's just a whole chain of islands out there. But they started to get on the radio, and our neighbors were not too far away from me because we're over at Devil's Point there, for someplace like 3 miles away or something like that.
Be
And
advised, hostile
they
hunter
managed to
killer
hear
drone
us on the
inbound.
radio saying that our boat is going down, and we have
Be
life
advised,
jackets
hostile
on.
UAV
My mom's
incoming.
on a life jacket to me, and before we could get the Coast Guard on the what's it called? It was on call fucking radio. It probably was. Probably is called a radio. It is.
Securing
Anyways, we tried to get the Coast Guard on radio before that happened. So radio ended up getting inside the water from the boat flipping over, and we were unable to
Hostile
call
hunter
out to
killer
them.
drone inbound.
But we were lucky enough for a ship that was
Be
passing by.
advised, hostile care package inbound.
Not really passing by. It's probably 7 miles off. You can barely see it, but it was a huge ship. They managed to see us actually flip over, and they called the Coast Guard in for us. And we were lucky enough to have our neighbors not too far away from us that were able to run over and pick us up from the water.
Hostile hunter killer drone
Now,
inbound.
the really scary part
Alpha secure.
was that this is an area where there have been
Be advised, hostile UAV incoming.
where it's been known to have sharks. I have caught plenty of sharks out there, plenty of good-sized sharks at that.
Charlie locked down.
And even though we're like 2 miles off in Key West, it was right by a shelf where it goes from 30 feet to 100 feet, and that is where a lot of bigger predators hang out at. A lot of because there's gonna be a lot of reef sharks around in that area, and the whole idea was just a little bit scary. It's hard to take in of this is really happening to us, because you hear about it and like, oh, that's not what happened. The idea is just creepy, and then the Coast Guard finally comes and they get us. I ride back with my neighbor. Everybody else is
Be advised,
in the
hostile
Coast Guard
UAV
boat,
incoming.
and it all ended well. Thankfully, my mom was shooken up. I was shooken up. The boat was completely damaged. We actually got fined because we had
Be advised, hostile counter UAV is online.
our equipment inside the boat because it flipped over. It went inside the ocean, and basically we would have had to have left it there. We got fined for it being left there, even though we didn't really have a choice. I think we got some rods back. I think someone dove down there and picked up some rods.
Objective almost complete.
And
Don't quit now.
as well as whenever a boat flips
Hellstorm missile
over,
awaiting orders.
anybody is able to go over there, flip the boat over, and tow it back, and then you have to pay that person to get your boat back, which is just complete
Friendly
bullshit,
Hellstorm missile inbound.
because we couldn't use the boat anyways, and we ended up selling it a couple of years later after moving back up to North Carolina, and my mom holding it at her sister's house who lives at the beach. And it worked out
Mission clock about to
in the end, but
expire. Step up.
it's kind of one of those things that you don't forget.
Bravo.
you almost like you learn from it. It's not much you think you can learn from it,
Lightning
but you
strike
learn what
awaiting
you can
coordinates.
handle whenever something like that happens to you, because
Friendly lightning
that
strike
can
inbound.
it can really change your whole aspect. Now it hasn't changed my whole idea of going on boats. I still love going on boats, still love fishing. I have no problems with sharks.
Losing B.
I don't have a fear of sharks. I have respect for sharks. I know it's their territory, and to not get in their way. So it's not really a fear. It's a thing out of respect. It's like if they get on a hook, they're probably gonna end up in my belly if they're small enough. All right, so this is my life story. Uh, I hope you liked it. If you did like it, please leave a like. You comment if you had anything similar happen to you, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.